And in that example of how I used it, it would have tracked that I went into the cabinet at 2:10 p.m. and I accessed bin 3, which had certain specific contents of drugs at that time. But if you want to have a higher level of tracking, we have the ability to have inventory management of drugs in any bin. So this top bin here, I've labeled narcotics as an example. So if I come in here, the first thing it does is ask me for a secondary PIN. So once I enter that, then I move on to the next screen. And that secondary PIN is unique to each individual. So I can't just grab someone else's badge and log in and get narcotics as an example. I would need to know the specific PIN that's associated with that card. So it's true two-factor authentication. Once I'm in, it shows me the drugs that are in that bin. I can choose, say, Versed. And then it asks me, do I want to dispense it? If a drug has been dispensed already, I can return it. There's an option of waste, and waste requires a witness. There's a stocking option, so when you get more drugs delivered to the facility, you can stock them into the cabinet. And there's also the ability to move. So if I want to move drugs from one bin to another, or more likely from our expansion cabinet into a bin, we have that option. So if I choose dispense, it's going to ask me a quantity to dispense. I'll say I'm going to dispense 2 vials. And it'll also ask me for a patient identifier. So this is manually entered. Most centers are using a medical record number. So if I enter an MRN number and save that, once those 2 items are entered, then I can hit dispense, and only then does the bin become unlocked. So now I can pull the drugs I need and take them to the patient. So now, in addition to tracking that I went into this bin at this time, it's also tracking that I took 2 vials for this patient. And the reason we're doing that is to try to replace the paper narcotic logs that most centers are keeping. And we have a built-in counting feature here, so if I come in and choose to reconcile the drugs, it's going to ask me for a witness. So another user has to come over and log in, so it's a different user ID card. So once the second user logs in, it'll ask if it's a start of shift or end of shift count, so I'll do an end of shift count. And it's showing me all the bins here in the cabinet and the current status. So these bins here say that it says that there's no med to count. And so that's an example of if you don't have inventory management on a bin. Certain centers don't want to have inventory management of every drug they have. They don't care about ibuprofen, let's say. If you want to count it, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. These bins here do have an inventory management turned on. So these bins I have to count. It's showing not reconciled right now. So if I come in and look at this bin, the bin is unlocked now. I can pull that open and then start counting the drugs. And so it's going to show me each drug, and I would count drug by drug. I would enter a count, and let's say I put a count in. I don't have the right count here, so it's showing me the discrepancy. If I entered the correct count, it would show it's reconciled. And so you go bin by bin, drug by drug, until everything's reconciled, and it would show that status here bin by bin. And the advantage of doing this is if you do have a discrepancy, you know not only which drug had the discrepancy, obviously, but which bin had it as well. And so then you can look at your records and see who's been in that bin since the last time it was reconciled. So it gives you really good traceability to what's happening in the cabinet.